Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
It's okay. So, okay. As you reflect back on the lesson, how do you feel that it went yesterday?
Okay. All right, so let me think back to yesterday. So for word work, word work went pretty good. Comprehension. Okay, I think most of it went really good. It went well. I can see that he's making progress, especially in word work. But writing was a bit challenging, so I don't think that went as well.
So you think most of it went well, but your area that Gino's still weak on is writing? Feel that from that lesson?
Yeah.
Okay. And what
From that
what about writing did not go well?
Well, I had planned to have him create sentences with word tiles and then copy them onto sentence strips. He was just having difficulty, like, really putting together a sentence. So, I was modeling it for him. So he was still having, difficulty just doing it on his own. I think maybe at first I had too many tiles out, so then I took some away and I just told him, I had like 4 tiles instead of having 10. Like, with these 4 words, what sentence can you make? So I had to like really scaffold it for him so he was able to understand. And by the end, he really still couldn't completely independently put together a sentence on his own with the tiles, with the word tiles. But he's copying them correctly onto the sentence strips. He is using a capital and a period and correct spacing, which is good. But I think putting together the sentences was challenging for him.
So you felt that taking away some of the tiles was a good choice?
Yeah, because I think it was overwhelming for him, and he was kind of just pulling letters, and his sentences weren't making sense. So I think limiting the amount of tiles was a good choice at that time.
So can you tell me more about the modeling that you did for that activity?
Yeah. So basically, I just was showing him, I would have some tiles out, I would put them together, I would read the sentence, and I'm showing him how I'm thinking about it. Is this making sense if I start with this word? Is it making sense if I start with this word? What word would make sense next in my sentence? So just showing him and basically thinking aloud as I was doing it.
Okay. And what went well? What do you feel went well with the other areas?
I thought the word work went well because we were reviewing Short U. I introduced it the day before, so I guess that was Monday. And then we were reviewing it, and because I realized he was having trouble with O and U, and like we were saying, it could have been a visual thing, but I saw him really starting to understand, and he was getting the sounds much better. So the O and U sort, he was successful with that. And then we were making words with the magnetic letters, with short vowels, and he loves doing that. And then I noticed he was making he wanted to make bigger words because we're just basically doing consonant vowel consonant words. And so he's like, okay, close your eyes, Miss Dina, I'm going to make a really big word. So I was like, okay. And then he was like using things around the room, and he saw the Crayola box, so he made the word Crayola. And he knew. So that was good to see him wanting to do that. And then we went through a book that I printed off A to Z. It was called The Mutt and the Bug, and he was highlighting. I was reading it to him, and he was stopping and highlighting all the short U words, and then I would have him, okay, which words did you highlight, and read them, and he was able to read them, so that was good. And then comprehension, we read another decodable text. It was called The Bus, so again with the short U, and I read this out loud to him because we were talking about characters, so thinking about who is in the story. So there were 2 characters, Russ and Gus, and we would stop, talk about the characters. Okay, which one do you think Russ is? Which one do you think Gus is? Blah blah blah. And he was really good with that. He was able to pick out the characters. We talked how they could be people or animals in this case. And he filled out the graphic organizer. He drew the characters. He labeled their name. And his retelling was really good yesterday. He retold the story in sequential order, and he included the characters because that's what I was telling him. Okay, with this retelling, I really want you to include the characters. So he included their names, and he did a good job with that. Yeah.
Okay. So did you do any pre-reading activities for the comprehension book? What was it, The Bus?
Yeah, the bus. I showed him the book. We looked at the title. We do like a picture walk first. We just go through it. Talk about what we think is going to happen based on the pictures. And he was excited he could read the title because we just were doing short U. So he made that connection. Oh, it's a short U word, the bus. So yeah, we do some of the like making predictions.
Do you think that helped him with the retelling too, to have that?
Yeah, I think it does help him.
Okay. How did what you planned compared with the actual execution of it?
I think everything, word work and comprehension pretty much went as planned. However, with writing, like I was saying, I had to kind of switch my plan a little bit with the tiles and really slow down on that because he just was having difficulty. So, and at the end, he created his own sentence, like just made something up on his own and wrote it on a sentence strip. And he was able to do that by the end, but with the word tiles and making the sentences to begin was difficult, so I had to change that plan a little bit.
Okay. So do you feel that your two team met the objectives that you set out?
Yeah, I wanted him to, to understand the difference between U and O and make words with short U vowel sounds. So he definitely met that objective. He was able to understand the words. When he highlighted them, he was picking out the correct one. So he met that objective. Determining characters in a story and including them in his retelling, he definitely did that. And the sentences, he was able to write them with capitals, periods, and correct spacing when he rewrote them, but making the sentences, I think he struggled with. So he did not really met that one yet, I don't think. It's something we're going to need to continue to work on.
So that's something that you think he's nearing being able to do?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. So in your lesson, you asked me to look for your wait time.
Right.
And what I observed was, most of the time that I watched, your questions, you gave enough wait time for Gino to respond. Like in the beginning, you asked, was he ready to start? You kind of waited a little bit until he was ready. You asked me, is the bear Gus? Who's the characters? What's happening on this page? How many characters in the story? So I felt like you gave him enough time that he could, come up with an answer and elaborate on it. The two times that I thought maybe include more wait time was you asked him what are characters in the very beginning, and then when he was trying to decode the word hill,
I kind of jumped
in a little bit and decoded it for him, which I know. But, so, overall, I felt like you did give him enough wait time.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good because I know felt like I was like jumping and constantly redirecting, rephrasing, helping him, so I was more conscious of it during this lesson.
Yeah. So, so as your coach, do you have any feedback for me? Things I could improve on?
Yeah. Well, I think you're a great coach, especially with this, reflecting on, why I chose, when you asked me, why did I choose, or do I think it was a good choice to change during the writing portion of the lesson. When, sometimes you don't think about it until, like, was it a good choice? And then, so I was able to really reflect on that. Maybe just, let's see, paraphrasing more, maybe, like giving me more time to come up with an answer and just paraphrasing, summarizing what I said, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
All right, sounds
good. Thank you.
Yep.